Hello and welcome to the We Are Overcomers WAO podcast episode. I am your host, Cassandra Lee, known as the Diva of Dialogue. I am passionate about helping career professionals to advance their careers. That's why tonight's episode is going to focus on a topic that career professionals can use at any time in the stages of their career, and that is the topic of resume writing. Tonight, I have brought with me experts. I think I know everything, yet I am smart enough to know I do not know everything about resume writing. And that is why I have asked two of my favorite colleagues who are in the resume writing space to join me tonight. First, from California, I have resume writer and career coach Sharon Gross with us. Hey, Sharon.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
Next up, I have with me and with us, I have Kareem Rogers, who's also in the career space, making moves and setting precedences, I say, with making sure that individuals understand about this idea of making a mark and using their brand and using resumes as part of that process. Hey, Kareem.
How you doing, madam? Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Good. Now, each of you, I know I've said some of my favorite phrases about both of you and the reasons why I've asked you to join me in this space. Yet, let me give you an opportunity to really let our listeners understand more about who you are and what you do. And that way, they will have a clearer picture of what you're bringing into this conversation regarding resume writing. Sharon, let me start with you.
Again, thank you for having me be here. I am based in Los Angeles. I'm the owner of SMG Career Consulting and Coaching. I'm a certified resume writer, so I've been writing resumes, I'll just say over 15 years. And I also do career coaching as well. I was trained by the Coactive Training Institute. Currently, I am working with a nonprofit organization called Career Village, and they are focused on democratizing access to career advice for learners. And one of the products that they'll be launching soon is an AI product related to that mission. Also, I'll be releasing a book soon. It's called Unveiling the Superhero, and is focused on finding your unique and authentic self so you can stand out in your job search or your career elevation. And job searching and career enhancement, that I know that can be challenging, but I am committed to helping people in their journey.
Thank you, Sharon, for providing that insight regarding what you do. And of course, that is so important. I appreciate that not only with your career as a consultant and also with what you're doing with your career village company, that you're able to really bring together all that you do within the career space. Therefore, again, thank you for being present. Kareem, let's also share with the listeners more about you and what you're bringing into the space.
Excellent. Once again, thank you for having me here. My name is Kareem Rogers. So, as you said, I am a career coach and a resume writer. But one thing I also want to add is I'm also a recruiter. So, my main goal is to help job seekers get the recruiter access to get the salary that they deserve. So, I am the owner of the resume writing career coaching business, HR Depot. And our goal is to help people get the salary they deserve through resume writing, LinkedIn optimization, cover letter optimization, interview prep, and etc. And through the techniques and through the information that I have as a career coach and as a recruiter, I really help you get both sides of the field because as a recruiter, I've reviewed thousands of resumes. Actually, I've actually won an award as a top recruiter, in-house recruiter for the US and Chicago in 2022. So with that expertise, along with some of my membership in certain groups. So I'm also a member of the Society of Elite Resume Writers. I really just learned how to really give job seekers the best application possible to make them stand out within the job market field. Especially now, since a lot of people are looking for jobs, it is very important that you figure out how to make yourself stand out compared to the other applicants. So I do that through my business at HR Depot. Like I said, I'm a recruiter and I just love helping job seekers get the job that they want.
Thank you so much, Kareem, for sharing your love as well and your many certifications. And I'm stumbled because I'm like, where was I to even provide you with the accolades? Well, man, let me do that in public right now. Awesome. 2022, I'm like 2 years behind. Thumbs up to you for all that you're doing in this space. And that's why I'm loving both you and Sharon. I know that I'm also in the career space as well as a career coach. I say I'm a career advancement strategist. I am the owner and CEO of Sani Career Growth Incorporated, where I partner with organizations to assist them with discovering, growing, and preserving their most important assets, their employees. I like to say that with the partnership, basically that I formed with them through my professional and management training development company is to make certain that the skills, the knowledge, the insights, all that an employee brings to the table can be maintained, can be elevated, and they can then have the career advancement that they're seeking. And although I may not focus strictly on resume writing, and truth be told, I don't focus much on resume writing. However, what I do focus on is overall professional development, and resume writing is one of those things. I usually will see participants, students, I say clients as well, all of those terms. I usually see them when they come to my classes because they're looking to elevate themselves or they're looking to prepare themselves for what's coming next. And sometimes they need that skill to be further developed so it can appear on the resume. And that's what I'm assisting them with regarding that professional development. They, on the other hand, though, still need to know how to format that resume, how to put all of that together. And that's why I brought the two of you together with me tonight. So that way, in this career space, we can not only help to provide them insight and information, we can help to elevate them and give them that career advancement that they're seeking. So, yeah, two thumbs up. All right. Now that we have gotten into what I call the overview and the insight about us as the experts here, let me truly tap into your expertise. One of my primary questions that I have regarding this space of resume writing is the fact of what can job seekers focus on in order to make themselves stand out with resumes from each of your coaching experience and your ability of reviewing resumes? What would you highly recommend that the job seekers are doing to make themselves stand out? Sharon, I'll come to you first, and then Kareem, you jump right in when she's done.
Well, I would say I have reviewed a lot of different resumes in a lot of different industries. And one of the things that I find is that a lot of people don't really know how um, to show how they're different, how they're unique from other applicants. So I really stress on quantifying their achievements, really showing how what they did made an impact, and not only how it made an impact, but showing adding numbers to that as much as possible. Everything cannot be quantified, but you do want to quantify as much as possible because I know that numbers are elements of that accomplishment that will catch somebody's eye, especially when they're reviewing a resume really quickly. Most resumes are reviewed within a few seconds. I think it's 8 seconds max. So you want to be able to make sure your resume is formatted and you're really highlighting your accomplishments, and those numbers will tend to jump out. And I'll pass it on to Kareem.
Actually, going along with what Sharon is saying, definitely put the accomplishments, but also make sure that you're putting relevant information on your resume. So she just said that a recruiter, and I can actually confirm this. I'm a recruiter, so I can I can tell her this is fact. Recruiters, we look at more than one resume or more than one application. Thus, we are not going to look at your resume for a very long time. We're going to look at it for, like she said, 8 seconds. I think the actual research is 7 to 9. So within that realm. So you only have 7 to 9 seconds to convince us to give you an interview, right? So when you are creating these interviews, really think about what information do you want us to look at that will really make us decide if we want to give you a chance. Just yesterday, I had a colleague ask, "Can I look at their resume?" And it was 7 pages. I'll be honest with you. Once I saw 7 pages, I said, I'm not reading this. Right. So definitely quantify your achievements, but make sure that the information that you have on that resume is very relevant to the job that you're applying for. That's why they always say, do not submit a general resume because a general resume may not work for every job that you apply for. Tailor it towards the information that it is saying that it wants their applicants to have. And once you tailor it and condense your resume to where it's visually appealing and it shows the relevancies to that opening, then you really stand out as a job applicant.
You know, Kareem and Sharon, you're giving some great information. The insight regarding 8 seconds to review, 7 to 9 seconds to review a resume definitely made me go, what? Wow, did not realize that. Kareem, you having the background in being a recruiter, you definitely are able to speak to that. And as you said, it is all about making the recruiter, the individual that's reviewing the resume, interested in giving you the opportunity to have that interview. Let me backtrack to a question that I do have. Both of you talked about quantifying the achievements. Sharon, thank you for mentioning that. Kareem, you stressed the fact that when you are quantifying the achievements that you're putting on the resume really should be tailored to the job in which you're applying. Therefore, it should not be a 7 page resume. That led me to the question, what now is the best amount of information, or let me phrase it this way.
Mhm.
How many pages really should a resume be nowadays?
So there is not a definite answer to that. It depends, right? Of course, if you're just graduating from school or even if you're just done with high school, whatever, ideally you probably want to have maybe 1 or maybe 2 pages, right? Because you haven't done enough to really have a lot of information on your resume, right? But say you're a mid to exec level or senior level, excuse me, you're probably going to have a lot more information that you want a recruiter to look at that will really showcase these skills and abilities that you're doing, right? So for some, I've done resumes where it's been two. I think I've seen some resumes where it's been more. The thing that really matters is that if you are having a resume that is a lot of pages, think about what is the first thing you want a recruiter to look at. So one thing that my former supervisor used to always say, which I thought was smart, she said, what I would do, she said, I will fold your resume in half. And when I fold the resume in half, I want to see if the page I'm looking at or the part of the page I'm looking at, does it give me enough information to decide if I want to give you an interview? So that's why for me, I usually recommend for your sections, add a professional summary. Sometimes include your key achievements in that first section right there, right? Your skills and things like that. Because like I said, we're not reading your resume, we're skimming through your resume. Those are two different things, right? And so when we're skimming, we're trying to find key things. What are the key words? What are the numbers? What is this? And that helps us decide within that 7 to 9 seconds if we want to give you a chance. So overall, in terms of the question, it generally depends. But even with that answer, I would like to add that that first page is very important. Like I said, I know some recruiters who only look at the first page. Not saying that's fair, but I'm just saying if they are only looking at that first page, then that first page is very important in deciding if they want to give you a chance. Sharon, want to go with that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with the things that you said, Kareem. I always emphasize that the top 1/3 to 1/2 of your resume, that is your pitch. And that is supposed to inspire someone to want to look further at your resume and get more detailed information. But that meat of your experience, the thing that you want to stand out, that should be in the top 1/3 of your resume. In terms of length, again, I agree with Kareem. There's no one set standard. Now, if you don't have a lot of experience, you're a new graduate, usually I'll say 1 page, but that's if you have experience that would go to 2 pages that is relevant, then you do want to highlight that. Um, so I'm in line with what Kareem said in terms of length. The key is making sure your information is relevant, but you also want it concise and to the point.
It's something we definitely learned about for writing. Making it concise and to the point. And listen, something that you blew my mind with a moment ago is the folding. I know in writing, especially when we talk about email, I taught a class today and we were talking about email writing. And one of the rules of thumb for writing, especially with emails, is that before you scroll, the key information should be there. Before you scroll, all the key facts, key details, the key information that you want your reader to know should be on the screen. Now, of course, technology has advanced. We can have bigger screens, which means we can see more before we scroll. Yet, before that screen technology increased, the scroll was so important as a rule of thumb to let us know how much content to put there. The fact that you said fold the resume in half or even fold that resume in thirds and that key information, that means that an applicant themselves can do their own folding and see if what they see above that fold is enticing a recruiter to give them an interview. That is so key. Thanks. Go for it, Kareem.
Yeah, and that's why also, even with that information, it is important to have someone else review your resume, right? Because let's be honest, when it comes to our own work, we may think that it's visually appealing or that it's a great resume, but you may need another person's opinion. Even as a resume writer, I can admit that I have colleagues in the resume writing, career coaching community where, like I said, if I need a second opinion on, hey, what do you think about that? I go to them. This is why I'm a member of the Society of Elite Resume Writers, right? Because we may have questions like, hey, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about that? It's never do it all by yourself, right? Especially in the job searching community, there are people who are willing to help you. You just got to be willing to ask them for that assistance. So that's another thing too is don't think that you just need to do all this by yourself. Ask some of your friends, your colleagues. Of course, if you have a career coach or a resume writer, that's a definite plus or recruiter, but ask other people what they think about your resume when they see it.
Mm.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, as a resume writer, I do consult other colleagues, other people in the field. The career realm, different industries, they evolve, they change. So it's impossible to be an expert in every single aspect of every industry. So that's why you need to have a community that you can go to and get feedback from, or a mentor that you can go to and get feedback from. And that goes especially for the job seeker. When you have a resume, especially if you are applying to something that's internal, if you have colleagues, mentors that work in that same company, maybe in that same department that you're looking to move into, have them look it over. They might be able to point out certain things well, this particular department is focusing in on this, so you want to highlight this part of your background. So having that second eye is very important.
Awesome. Job seekers that are listening to this podcast, this message is for you for sure. Thank you all so much for all the great information that you have shared. Now, don't go anywhere. We, of course, need to make certain we can pay some bills, as is usually said in radio. I've always wanted to say that. Hold fast, everyone. We'll come back for the next half. Job seekers, get your notes together. We got more for you. Discover, develop, preserve, and grow the workplace relevance of your employees. How? By partnering with Sani Career Growth Incorporated. We are a professional and management development training company that will partner with you to increase the proficiency of your most important asset, your people. We recognize that at the end of the day, it is about increasing productivity and profitability for the sustainability of your business. Therefore, give us a call at 872-871-0055 to schedule a consultation today. That's 872-871-0055. We are Sani Career Growth Incorporated, and we look forward to partnering with you. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Cassandra Lee, career advancement strategist, and I am here today with career coach Sharon Gross and career recruiter Kareem Rogers. And man, have my head been exploding with the great information that they've been sharing with us. They have given us some overview information regarding resume writing for the job seeker. We're going to move into another segment of our resume writing for the Job Seeker podcast episode by me now asking our two experts some key information to help you, job seekers, to really get what you're looking for out there. Kareem mentioned in the first part that there are a lot of people who are looking for jobs. Sharon and Kareem both said that as a job seeker, you want to stand out starting with your resume. That way you can get interviews. Therefore, let me start this time with Kareem. I am curious to know, what would you say are the main sections of the resume that the job seeker should definitely make sure they have? Now, we've already established there isn't a
Mm,
cookie cutter number of pages, at least one page
right.
minimum, two-page, more than likely the max. However, within that one page or those 2 pages, what are the key areas that they should have highlighted on their resume?
Highlighted. So I'll give two or three. Uh One, the skill section, because basically the skill section is you showing that you have the necessary skills to do well in the role or have the skills that is related to the role. And honestly, that's why I recommend putting it at the top, not one of the first ones. I mean, not the first one, excuse me, but one of the first ones, because usually as a recruiter, that's one of the main things I will be looking for. Number two is the experience section, and this goes to what Sharon is saying said earlier, because this is where you quantify your achievements and list your roles and responsibilities, because you also want to show that you have experience doing some of the roles that the job description entails. And for me, this is very important. And a lot of resumes do not do this. I highly recommend adding this. It's not a requirement, but for me, it just stands out: a professional summary. A professional summary gives a quick synopsis of who you are. Who are you? What are you known for? What are your achievements? Sometimes I might just look at the professional summary, and that will let me know everything I need to know about you. And in today's market, I don't see a lot of job seekers include a professional summary, or what they'll do is they'll actually put an objective. And the difference is, an objective is, what is your objective in applying for this role? In my opinion, if I know you're applying for the job, that's your objective, right? So what's the point of putting that on the resume? Whereas a professional summary gives a quick idea of who you are, how many years of experience, what are you known for, what awards have you won, aka Toastmasters, DTM, competition. Maybe that's the place where you put that at, right? So for me, those three things are very important. Of course, there's more, but those are the top three that I can think of that's very important when it comes to really formatting your resume and making sure it stands out against other applicants. Sharon?
Yeah, I agree with you about the summary. That is one of the things that I find a lot of resumes lack. Um, a lot of resumes I've seen, they do use the objective, and the objective more so is I am seeking this type of job that a lot. No, it's not about what you are looking for. The person who's reviewing your resume, they're not really caring, okay, this is what you're looking for. You applied for the job. I want to know why you are a good fit, why I should hire you. And that's the purpose of the summary. Now, what I do say in terms of an objective, if you are making a career transition, your experience, you want to use your skills and your experience to transfer into some other type of role that's not necessarily apparent from your experience that you have listed on your resume, I would say put an objective statement at the end of your summary. So, for example, seeking to leverage my background as a project manager and my education in engineering to move into this type of role. But overall, your introduction, your summary, it should highlight who you are and what you have to offer. Another section, of course, would be education and training. Now, a thing about education, a lot of times job seekers will think, okay, I went to college and I went for 2 years and I didn't finish, so I don't want to put that on my resume. If you have college education, you do want to put that on your resume. A way you can showcase that is put what your area of study was, how long or how many credits that you have completed, but you don't want to discount your education. A lot of jobs, they are looking for uh, people who have college education. So even though you did not finish, that could be valuable to that particular employer that you are applying to. Also, another question I get about sections to include on your resume, community affiliations, community work, things like that. So I say include that information if it is relevant, if it connects to the particular job that you're applying to. So if you are applying as a community organizer and you have some volunteer work and community organizing, that would be great to include in your resume. But if your background is, let's say, I don't know, teaching kids chess, and your job that you are applying to has nothing to do with that, you don't necessarily want to include that. You want to reserve your resume with the information that is relevant to that particular job, and that's going to best showcase how you are a great fit for that job.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Great, great, great. Man, you just had my mind being blown with that information, especially both of you. Everything you've said so far about the sections really are highlighting the fact that if an applicant knows themselves and understands the job they are applying for, they really will have a brand new resume for every job in which they're applying because they're tailoring the resume to the job that they are applying for. So that is a great way to re-emphasize Focus on putting those key elements and the information in the sections that's relevant to the job. Kareem?
Real quick, because I wanted to add something to what she said that's very important, especially with the education session. One thing that I think is also very important, and I'm saying this as a recruiter who has had to take back offers, please do not lie on your education section. I have seen some job seekers lie about having degrees, and once we found out, because we do background checks, right? Once we found out that was not true, we had to take the offer back because having that education background, if we say that we require a bachelor's or a master's, we are serious when we say that. So please be mindful of when you're writing your resume. I know that you want to say some words to make yourself stand out, but please be truthful to the very important sections, like she said, the education, the experience. Don't go around talking about you was a director and you have no experience whatsoever being a director. Okay, I mean that's where the interview comes in because let us figure out if you're truthful in what you're saying. But that's just my quick 2 cents. Please, please, please do not lie about things like that.
Thank you for that. Sharon, go ahead and finish out.
Yeah, I was going to piggyback on that in terms of being truthful. Sometimes people will come up with job titles for what they did to kind of elevate what their actual job is. I recommend just putting what your actual job title is because, as Kareem mentioned, there will be background checks, and you want to make sure that information really does match up with what you are saying in your resume. So that is very important. We want to be truthful here. There are ways to elevate you and your experience without being untruthful.
Well said. Job seekers, you heard it from the experts. Do not go out there lying about what you've done. Now, when we get back for our final segment of this episode, you're going to learn some key things that you can do. And I will have some great questions for our experts to make certain that you, again, can get out there, represent yourself with the truth, with the right sections to get that job that you're seeking. We'll be back after this.
Stuck in the resume rut? Can't seem to find the right words to showcase your skills? We've got you covered at HR Depot. Our expert team craft resumes that are more than just a piece of paper. We turn your experiences into stories, your skills into assets, and your dreams into reality. Whether you're a fresh graduate or a seasoned professional, let us help you take that crucial first step towards your dream job. Visit HRDepotLLC.com or call us today and let's redefine success together. HR Depot, where your potential shines.
Welcome back, job seekers, to our Resume Writing for Job Seekers podcast episode. I am Cassandra Lee, your host, and I have been having a fantastic time with our experts, Sharon Gross and Kareem Rogers. Job seekers, I hope you still have your notes handy because this is our final segment, and I have a few questions that I think will give you some key insight to help you for where you're going to next in your job search. Sharon, I want to ask you a question as it ties into education and training. Something that I recognize with me focusing in on professional development, sometimes I do meet job seekers who don't have a job, they're in between jobs, and they are taking seminars for the knowledge, for the education, for the training. Is that something they should put on their resumes in the education and training area? And if so, is there a tip or a trick as to how they would phrase that?
So there are a couple of different parts to answering your question. So if someone is unemployed, they have a gap in their employment, a lot of hiring managers, recruiters want to have that time accounted for. So what I recommend is setting up a section in your resume, well, actually within your professional experience, where you give just a brief explanation regarding that gap. You don't have to get into detail Like my mother was diagnosed with cancer, so I took 12 years off to take care of her. No, you could just say something like family, medical care, or just a brief description. And then you want to structure it like you would your job entries in your resume and have bullets where you highlight what you did during that time, whether it's professional development, volunteer work, any skills that you've gained that are relevant to that particular job that you're applying to. So a big part of your resume is making sure it is relevant, regardless of what type of information you need to include. It has to be relevant. Now, in terms of your education and training, a lot of times I do recommend having a separate section for your training. Again, you want to focus in on relevant training. Now, I have run across people who have maybe 25, 50 different trainings that they've taken. There's no need to include all of that. You want to include the most relevant. You could say selected trainings. And then based on what that particular job is looking for, what skills they're looking for, you want to include that training that most aligns with what that job needs or is looking for. Kareem, did you want to add on to that?
Really, I think you gave a very, very good explanation for that. The one thing I would add, it's not related to the resume. It sort of is, depending on how you utilize it, but also make sure you're networking. So networking is a very, very important skill you need to have, especially if you are searching for a job. To be honest, before you're searching for a job, because who you know can play a huge factor in what opportunities you get. I have seen people get job interviews or opportunities because of networking opportunities. Not saying it's good, not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's the truth. So if you are a job seeker and you're going to these training and development programs, that's good. Make sure you're networking with the people that's also going to those training and development programs. Go to these career fairs, go to these networking events. Always try to meet new people wherever you go because you never know who you might meet. Prime example, real quick. So people know me, I'm a gym rat, right? So I meet a lot of people at my gym. A guy who I was talking to today, I ended up finding out he was a commercial real estate agent. I'm a part of real estate. So what do you think is going to happen? We exchange business cards. So just, the everyday situation, you never know who you will meet that may be able to give you future opportunities. So always make sure you're networking. And also to leave a good impression. So one thing that my former supervisor did for me is she left a recommendation on my LinkedIn page. Guess what I did? I put that on my resume. So that's the first thing you will see on my resume, the recommendation that my former supervisor left for me, because this used to be somebody who I used to report to. So if she vouches for me, then I feel like that helps me stand out amongst other applicants. So just my 2 cents on that one.
You were giving your 2 cents on that. You made me think of another question. Not sure if we'll have time for it. However, I'm going to put it in the back of my mind for right now, but I want to ask you a question directly, Kareem, and that is about the concept of pivoting. I know we're talking about job seekers right now who may be searching for a job. Sometimes they are pivoting into a new role. I know Sharon mentioned that before when she was talking about the professional summary and how if you are applying for a completely different job, or I should say, applying for a job that's in a completely different arena than you may have had before, yet you're pivoting into that new experience and you're leveraging what you've done before, that's a possibility. I want to come back to
Mhm.
that concept and I want to see if we can give something very concrete and specific as maybe an action step or a strategy plan that for the job seekers who are in that space, they would be able to do that pivot more strategically. What do you
Right.
have, Kareem, for that?
Oh God, when it comes to pivoting, there's a lot we can talk about. Well, I'll say this, and this is a basic answer, but this is very important. First, do research. You need to first figure out what does that position or that field really seek, or what is very important in that industry, because you need to see if you already possess the skill or if you need to gain that skill or certification. So Sharon already talked about the training and development. If you don't have the degree or if you don't have the experience in that section, that's where the training and development comes into play, because you're showing that you're trying to work on that skill while showing how serious you are about it. Another thing too, join organizations. If you are a part of organizations, I mean, that's the best place to gain the skills, but also you get to network with people in that area. So you get to probably get some potential job openings, but also a mentor. So getting a mentor, someone who can guide you and really show you what you need to do to stand out or get opportunities in that field or position you're trying to get into, really helps. And most importantly, of course, make sure you tailor your resume. So if you work in HR and you're trying to transition to, say, consulting, you may want to change some things so that you show that even though you have mostly HR experience, you do have some experience or some skills or accomplishments that will translate well into consulting, because you want to show that, hey, I am the right person for this job, regardless of what my background is. So, like I said, I know there's so much more that I could talk about when it comes to pivoting, but that's just something that, I think is very helpful in regards to those tips that I provided.
Great tips. Sharon, anything additional you were thinking of that should be added to that as well?
Well, Kareem made a great point about the transferable skills, and knowing what those transferable skills are, that comes with the research and also networking with people within that industry that you may be trying to pivot into. Also, Kareem mentioned about joining professional organizations. Volunteer volunteer. If you can find a particular organization or an event or some type of volunteer situation where you can gain those skills that would be valuable for the type of job or industry that you're moving into. Even personal projects. Now, a lot of times this applies to technical roles, because you can do projects, work on projects individually, but there are also communities online where you can connect with other people and work collaboratively on projects as well. So yeah, there's a lot to pivoting, but those are some basic things that you can focus on to help you in that journey towards pivoting.
Wow. Well, I have to say, this segment was not long enough. Job seekers, what do you think? Was this long enough for you? It wasn't long enough for me. I have so many other questions that I want to ask our experts. However, we may have to do another episode in order to get those questions answered. In the brief moments that we have, Sharon and Kareem, if you had to share some parting wisdom with our guests, with our job seekers in 5 words or less, what would you say to them that would encourage them on their journey of seeking that next job or next opportunity? Go for it, Kareem.
What I would say is, remember, it is a process, not a part. So the resume is only one part of the job search process. So you need to be doing more. That's why I said cover letters, LinkedIn optimization, networking. You need to do more to really just give yourself a chance. This is why I say you want to stand out. If all you've done is just apply for a job and that's it, you have not maximized your opportunities in trying to find a job. I can talk more about that, but just remember, the job search process is a process. So just keep that in mind.
Well said. You gave us some other ideas for upcoming podcast episodes. Anyhow, job seekers, you heard that. It is a process. Sharon, what are your words of wisdom?
My first words would be bold. A lot of times people don't go for opportunities because they think they don't match all of the requirements. Um, that's not always necessary. If you are able to show your enthusiasm and you have a good foundation, that can carry you a long way in your background and your experience. Also, be authentic. That goes to about being truthful on your resume, but just being your authentic self. A lot of employers want to see that. That can determine how you fit into their culture. And then also engage in continuous development. That is necessary for not only getting a job, but for keeping and for elevating yourself in your career.
Mm. And those are great words of wisdom, which I think ties into my background, focusing on professional development. As a career advancement strategist, I am constantly reminding my clients and my students focus on developing your professional portfolio. A lot of what our guests said to you today, they shared with you insight regarding your accomplishment, your relevant experiences, quantifying your achievements, being bold and going out there and applying, volunteering and networking. Much of what they said, I saw it being structured in your professional development portfolio. Perhaps you're in a situation right now where you're not really searching for a job and you happen to come across this episode and you stayed with us because it was some great information that you're going to share with someone else. I want you to use the nuggets that you received tonight for your opportunity when you have to apply for something. Yet, for those of you who really were listening because you are in this space and you need this information, start tracking your portfolio as well and including everything that our experts have said tonight. Sharon Gross, thank you so much. Remind everyone of who you are again and the name of your company.
Again, my name is Sharon Gross. I'm owner of SMG Career Consulting and Coaching.
Awesome. Kareem Rogers, thank you very much. And let everyone know again who you are in your company.
My name is Kareem Rogers. I am a career coach and recruiter, and I am the owner of HR Depot LLC.
Awesome. Now, guest, if our listeners wanted to connect with you on LinkedIn or social media, is that something that's possible? How would they reach out to you if they wanted to get more expert advice?
If someone wanted to reach out to me, they can reach me on LinkedIn, Sharon Gross, SharyNGROSE.
Kareem?
And for me, Kareem Rogers on LinkedIn, I actually post a lot of content giving recruiter and resume writing tips. I actually just won an award for one of the top 50 top content creators for people of color on LinkedIn. So if you want some advice, if you want some tips on how to stand out, definitely follow my page.
Yes, and I'm a follower of Kareem, and Kareem is my social media coach. So that way, when you connect with Kareem, you'll also be able to connect with me, Cassandra R. Lee, on LinkedIn as well. And I am the owner of Sani Career Growth Incorporated. The growth is so important, as all of the guests have mentioned tonight. I am so happy that I was able to bring them together for this episode of the We Are Overcomers WAO podcast. Sharon and Kareem, thank you so much.
Thank
Job
you.
seekers, oh, you're so welcome. Job seekers, thank you so much. And for everyone who's listening to this podcast episode, definitely share it, cherish it, and most importantly, use it. Until next time, everyone, be well, be blessed, stay on the rise by finding joy in every moment.
Are you one of those people who hate speaking in front of audiences? Would you like to enhance your communication and leadership skills? Then consider joining the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers Toastmaster Club. Our club will help you conquer your fear of public speaking and teach you how to deliver messages that will win others over. Many times our jobs require us to speak in front of audiences to give PowerPoint presentations. If that's you, we invite you to join us, the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers Toastmasters Club, every second and fourth Saturday between 10:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come join us online at wao.toastmasterclubs.org. Then check out upcoming WAO events.